a level of focus that I feel like I don't get enough credit for, and just the mental capacity to go out there and do it at a high level every single night.
How do we get him some rest? You carried such a heavy load this season.
I rest when the season over with.
So, the James Harden system, the silent assassin in Kawhi Leonard, and hey, welcome to the zoo. The Clippers have won 3 straight games to boost themselves to 11 wins over the last 13, and one thing I can tell you for sure is that this team is rolling. Role players are understanding where they fit in, star players are playing at a high level, and are we seeing Ben Simmons shape into his actual form? If you ask me, it's crazy to see the growth from this team over the last year, and it all starts with this team being able to attack the defense in many different ways. With Harden being the leader when it comes to vision for this team, he's always scanning the floor to see where an opening presents itself, and with Kai Jones not aware of where his man is at on this play as he rotates back over, he ends up allowing Derrick Jones Jr. to cut backdoor to the rim, and ladies and gentlemen, please prepare for takeoff. Anytime you put the ball in Harden's hands, he'll make sure to find the best look on the floor, as here, even though it's a big-to-big switch, which should take away the roll off the pick and roll, James still places this right on the money on the outside to Zoo as he sealed off AD on the inside, and now it's a gimme at the rim. The connection between these two is second to none, as on this high screen and roll here, Harden commands the double near the sideline, and unlike other big men in the league who would have just beelined it straight to the basket, Zoo understands to make himself available at all times just in case things like this happen. So now with a pass right through the middle of both defenders to Zoo, this forces the defense to either collapse fully or stay home due to other threats on the floor, and since AD hesitated just a little bit on stepping up, this allows Zubac to get into that floater over the top just unbothered by the contest. It's not every night you can turn on a game and see a connection between the big and a guard like this, and it all starts with being unselfish. With Harden already seeing that Dinwiddie is funneling him right into a double with PJ Washington right there waiting, he already knows he's gonna dump it off to Zoo, but it has to be at the exact right time. So once PJ has slid down slightly and Dinwiddie is still attached to his hip, here's where it's the perfect time to hit Zoo on the roll, and yet again, it's another float for 2 points. Not only can Harden work well in these pick and roll scenarios to feed guys for easy looks, as if he needs to shift the pace to make the defender make contact with the screen, he can now choose to snake back towards the left to keep the defender on his trail, and then once surrounded by 3 Mavs defenders, he shows no fear when going straight to the basket to get the bucket off the glass. Now look, don't think the pick and roll is the only way Harden is effective, because although he may be older and isn't as quick as before, James will still take advantage of the defense guarding him tight by blowing right past him to attack downhill, and if you look at all the defenders on this play, they're all locked in on James as it seems like he's gonna go for that floater over the top. But this right here is a key example of why you can never get tunnel vision in the game of basketball, because on this backside, you have Zoo moving towards the rim, so now the lob connection is underway. That action right there shows you why it's so hard to guard Harden. It'll seem like you have him right where you want him and even play solid defense despite him lowering that shoulder into you to gain space. But here's the thing, this isn't a floater like most defenders would assume. Harden is actually throwing this lob to Zoo on the backside, and once again, you have to watch a slam go in over your head. There's honestly not a lot of guys in the league who can dish the rock like Harden, as if you're his teammate, all you have to do is make yourself available and he'll make sure to get it to you. And let's say he's in a situation where he has multiple defenders he can feed, the defense may think he'll go with one of the more predictable options, such as to the corner for a 3 or to Derrick Jones Jr. on the pursuit on this left side, but nah, he waits until the defense fully commits and even maybe takes some advice from Batum with the point of his finger and finds Bogdanovich for the wide open jumper, and this one right here is straight cash. Having a guy who can set up his teammates at any time is extremely valuable, as this will make defenders stay attached to their man when Harden is attacking downhill due to the lob threat, and at this point, his game is opened up even more. I understand that he's not the same Harden as he used to be with all the flashy moves and whatnot, but trust and believe, if Harden sees an angle he can exploit, he'll bust out that tween to then shift gears past the defender, and now it's a bucket plus the foul. With many defenders still showing that respect for him by staying close and up in his space, this gives Harden all the leverage to use that handle to get the step on them downhill, and for most elite players, you never really lose that touch when getting to your sweet spots. For some, they'll resort to easier things like a pump fake into a floater after the defender flew by him, but when you watch Harden, he doesn't just keep it simple all the time, as he'll abruptly cross the defender up, leaving them on a solo date, and just when you thought he was snaking back to come pay the bill, he'll show you that he was just testing your temperature and you're still on the hook for the tab. Trust me when I say it, guarding guys like this is extremely hard, as they can dissect you in many different ways, but what might be even harder in another form is when Kawhi uses that strength to all out muscle you to get into the paint and then finish over you with no problem whatsoever. Many people think the fundamentals are boring and not fun to watch, but when you look at where Kawhi first initiates that contact to then where he ends up on the last bump in the defender's space, he's all the way inside the paint right outside the restricted area, just making this look easy. I get it, I know, post work isn't the most exciting thing in the game, but look what opens up. Not only does it allow for Kawhi to get right to his spots whenever he needs to, but he now has a kick out option to power right there if needed, and then if you look towards the top of your screen, he also has done near the opposite sideline available as well. This here grants the offense many options to abuse the defense, and this time, Kawhi just decides he's going to take this one for himself. If you go to my channel, you'll see just a couple days ago I made a video on Kawhi and why he'll be able to dominate in the playoffs, and I mainly focused on how his game is so simplistic that it'll be hard for defenses to guard it. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, that kinda sounds weird, right? If it's simple, then they should be able to guard him, right? Well, in theory, that sounds correct, but in this newly evolved game of basketball, the fundamentals have kind of flew out the window and we now see more of a free flow street ball like playstyle. So when someone can just back you down simply and hit shots, it leaves the defenders frustrated. When he uses that pure strength to treat defenders like kids guarding him, it'll make them rethink their workout splits. And when he doesn't need those extra dribbles all the time and can just spot up to snipe you out the game, this is where Kawhi Leonard becomes so hard to cover. With defenders worried about that post game, they'll get up high to deny the post entry pass, but look what they leave open. Yeah, the paint is just uncovered. And with guys like Harden and Leonard, they'll make sure to take advantage of this. So here's where the pass over the top to complete the bucket makes the defense look foolish. Now hold on one second. Just because we've highlighted that Kawhi can cook the defense with pure simplicity and he doesn't really do all the extras, don't you think for 1 second that he can't get a little fancy when attacking defenders? Let's say if you think you're going to sit down on defense and lock him up, Kawhi will hit you with a tween into a tween and then pause for a second before yanking one more time, and this step back over the top is pure butter. For a guy his size and wingspan, having that tight of a handle is definitely a problem to deal with. I know people never expect for Kawhi to bust out moves like he's at the park, but trust me, if the play calls for it, he'll make sure to answer. Just like with his big man Zoo, if his guys miss a bucket and leave a voicemail, he'll be right there to call back. If he has to block his ex out of his life completely to now move forward, he can do so even if they try to do all they can to come back. And when all those distractions come into your life and try to stop you from receiving your blessing, Zoo will make sure to receive it in a different way and show you that he can't be stopped. With these three connecting on all cylinders right before the playoffs, things can start to look scary for the West. Sure, they're not the youngest team and don't have that electrifying star power like most people would think, but sometimes it's those teams that stay quiet and just put their head down and work that can end up taking your spot. This year's NBA playoffs is going to be an exciting one, and I want you all to tell me what team you think will make a deep playoff push and why. Let's all talk about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you're first to know when I upload. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.